Okay, Josh, I wanted to talk about the Xbox Game Showcase that happened a few days ago, and what are your thoughts around the actual showcase itself, I suppose?
Well, my thoughts around the actual showcase itself, I find them incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Just the presentation style, if you can call it that, where there is no presentation. It's just, what was it, an hour and a half, 2 hours of trailer after trailer after trailer, and I just didn't find that engaging at all. Did you enjoy it?
I kind of agree with your standpoint. Everyone is saying that this was a great showcase. Yes, it was a great.
I'm not saying it's not a great showcase. A great showcase can obviously mean they showed some good games and the games looked promising. It's just all the stuff around that I just.
It wasn't even that for me, because it was like they had all of these games, okay, and yes, it was nice to see. Like, it's like, oh, that's coming out, great, but what they actually showed was some trailer that is not going to be the final product. I'm like, what's the?
Yeah, sometimes
was
it was not a cinematic. It was cinematic, not gameplay trailer. But it was, for me, it's the case of, if I watch a trailer can be interesting, but also I can get bored of a trailer when it's just a single trailer. I was watching in a straight line, and whichever was the game after. No, I think I got to. There was some game that's called like After Dark or Dark something, and actually that looked like an interesting game. It was like this stealthy sort of game. Perfect Dark. So I did get like 20 minutes or so in, but the issue was, for me, is that trailers aren't always interesting, and quite often trailers are more interesting if you know what trailer you're watching.
That was the only good. That was like the best one out of all of them, I think, in terms of like, not necessarily like the one I'm looking forward to, the game wise, but actually showcasing the actual game, and it was literally a demo.
They did a bit of a mission, didn't they? They showed you how to use like the HUD, and how the HUD. It's not like a game HUD, it's like your person's HUD. Like, it's what she sees. She's got this like cool little device to do her hacking, manipulation type stuff. But no, the thing is, right, there seems to be trailers they were all made the same way. Show off something really cool and amazing, try and captivate your audience, and then tell the audience what game they've just seen. And I'm sure there's some people who love that. For me, I'm just not interested. Sorry, I'm not saying I'm not interested. Of course I'm interested, but what I mean is I don't want the grand spectacle of not knowing what I'm watching only to be revealed at the end. I want to know what I'm...
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know what it is. So I get turned off by trailers if I can't guess what the game is. So like Fallout 76, I'm like, oh yeah, something in the Fallout universe. That was quite obvious. But all the others, it didn't necessarily feel like I knew what I was watching.
Yeah, they kind of do that, where they would basically, they'll give you like a hint. I think like a good example is that new Doom game, and I think they showed like a symbol on like one of the uniforms, and it was like, I was thinking someone out there is going to already know that this is going to be a Doom game. And you kind of felt like, you're watching this and you're like, okay, this looks good, but then you felt like, I might as well just skip right to the end of this, fast forward, and then just find out what it is I'm actually watching. Because you're like, I don't know what this game... Because a lot of it is like remakes or sequels, and you're like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be this. And they kind of they leave it to the last bit of the trailer to tell you, yes, it is this, or actually it's something else completely, which is kind of annoying. So I was doing a lot of that. I was just like, I think there's a new World of Warcraft, wasn't there? There was a new World of Warcraft, I think, a Warcraft game.
Yes, that was quite early on, that one.
And I literally just like, this is not going to be the game. So I just skipped right to the end of the thing, just like, oh, it's one of those games. It's that game in the franchise. I was like, okay,
I did see later on the same night or the next day, Xbox had posted a community post to their YouTube page, and it just had all of the games that they had showcased. I'm like, if you just started with this, then I'd know which ones I want to watch, and then I'd watch the ones I want to watch. I'm just not interested in this whole kind of parade of trailers. I'd like to.
Well,
you can say
if they did it like that, then you would. They're trying to show you a game that you would not normally watch then and say, okay, that actually looks interesting, because there's a game, like there's a new game that are the makers from the Life is Strange, and that looked quite
I get that, but for someone who's not going to sit and watch it, that's not gonna work anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't watch it, so I'm not going to get those games shown to me. So I kind of get your argument, but the only people who are going to see it are the people who are actually going to watch and play through it. Watch it live or play it back afterwards. Now, I could have waited a day and then seen the picture, but I didn't know the picture was going to come out. Or I could have waited an hour or two and then actually all the trailers were dropping individually. But my point is, partly is, even as I was skimming through, I was just looking at the thumbnails and I was doing the same thing. I spotted Life is Strange, but then I had to go back a minute or two to try and find the beginning of that trailer.
Yeah. Same.
Because the name is at the end, it's not at the beginning. And I know, like, there's a certain type of people that loves the way it is at the moment, but the way it is at the moment, it only appeals to those people. It doesn't appeal to anyone else.
I think you got it right when you said earlier. Like, if they show just like a trailer and then show some actual gameplay for a minute afterwards or something, that, because there was like an RPG game in which they showed off this, like, it was amazing graphics, it looked great, and then they had to show the actual gameplay because it's turn-based, it's a turn-based RPG. I was like, okay, this is great. Like, you're showing off the world and you're not tricking anyone, because some people will be like, you just show one side of the game and then someone buys it and it's like, oh, I hate turn-based games, whatever. But at least, they did show that as like, yeah, this is part of the game, which I'm all. That's great.
So you're cinematically showing off what the story is, but then you are also going back and setting expectations of what the game is, how it plays, by showing a couple of turns or a couple of moves from the actual game itself, which is good.
Yeah, and that was like, I was more excited with that than the actual cinematics of, because I know it's just like, yeah, this is not gonna be in the final game. It's just put together just to, I don't know, teenagers are like, oh, look at the graphics, because they don't realize, they're like, oh, they think like, they're looking at this and they're like, oh, this is going to be in the game, this looks amazing, but it's not going to be in the game. You can tell that what they show off.
Why do you give teenagers so little credit? You were a teenager once and you didn't think the same sort of thing.
I did, like when I was watching, like, in the past, like at E3, you were like, oh, when they showed off the game and it wasn't actually the actual gameplay of the game, it was just a CGI put together cinematic. Yeah, I kind of believed it.
Oh, okay.
Remember there was like the famous Killzone 2 that Sony put together, and they were like, oh, this is actual gameplay, and then when the game came out, it was like,
yes, but they've told you it's gameplay and they lie to you. I think that's different. I think it's different.
Exactly.
It's different. Like, presenting CGI to show off a game isn't necessarily bad, because that is showing off story, building up hype and everything like that. As long as you also show some elements of the gameplay in some form. It doesn't have to be what the player will literally see. But if the character is fighting on screen, don't do a whole load of CGI moves that the character can't actually do when the player is controlling it. You can still have your cinematic camera, but the character can only do what what is available to the player input, that kind of thing. And that way you're getting a bit of the gameplay, but a bit of the cinematics as well, both at the same time.
I think Fable did that, where they showed the cinematics, and then it looked like they were showing some cutscenes and stuff of the actual game itself, which looked, because you could obviously tell like what is cinematic and what is actual going to be in the game. So yeah, that's probably a good example if you're going to look at something like that. But yeah, I was going to ask you what games stood out to you then, in terms of, there was a lot of games.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh, you do? Okay. So I would say for my...
I got as far as Perfect Dark, and then I watched Life is Strange, and I think that was it.
Did you see the Dragon Age, the new Dragon Age game?
Yeah, well, that was like the
good.
first game, wasn't it? The first or second trailer.
Yeah, I was quite hyped up for that a little bit. It was cinematic though, and it's not going to be the actual game, so I was like, yeah. But yeah, that's an example where it's like, yeah, this is not going to be the actual game, but at least we know it does exist. Fable looked good. You didn't see the Indiana Jones?
I saw it, but I didn't watch it because I've already watched it. I've seen the previous one,
Yeah,
so
so
I didn't bother watching it
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Okay, so we started with Call of Duty, then we had Doom.
Yeah, that was skip
that. Doom. Do you know what I thought was quite funny? So Doom is Bethesda, and then they put Doom Guy in like a big mech suit. I was like, oh, they just put him in power armor from Fallout. I got that idea from a franchise that's getting popular at the moment. And then Dragon Age was the fourth game. Oh, because there was that super interesting zombie game, which I thought was going to be Left 4 Dead.
Oh, is it State of Decay 3? Is that the one you're thinking of? That was showcased, State of Decay 3?
Yes, State of Decay.
Oh, the first game. The thing it looked good, but the problem with State of Decay is the first game had so many good ideas, and it came out on the Xbox 360 and on PC, and it just felt like it was just lacking that little bit of magic to make it a really great game. Like in like a Fallout or Skyrim or something, like it. Just having that little bit of mechanics inside it to make it like...
So what sort of game is it? Is it Left 4 Dead or is it The Last of Us? Is it multiplayer or a single player?
Kind of like you can play it in co-op, and it's a bit like Left 4 Dead, but less. It's like you have missions and stuff, and you can... What I remember, you have like your house and stuff, and you have to like guard your house, like, you know, put borders up and stuff, and... But that was like 15 years ago. The second one came out, State of Decay 2, and that got completely panned. Critics hated it and fans hated it. So I never looked into it, never played it. So I'm hoping that the third game is more like the first game, where it goes back to its roots, I suppose. I think the second game, the graphics... I'm not like this person that has to have perfect graphics, but I think the graphics at the time were like just a joke, and it was buggy and glitchy, and it was just...
Well, I mean, I like
poorly
good
optimized.
graphics, but I don't need them to be perfect. But we also don't need that Pokemon game that was released 2 years ago for the Switch that literally looked like it was made for the Wii.
I think you're not going to get perfect graphics of this game, but you get decent graphics. But it's all about the mechanics and co-op play and stuff like that. So playing with a friend is the ideal way of playing State of Decay, I think. But we'll wait and see about that one.
So Dragon Age was next. Remind me, what happened in Dragon Age? What was the vague story there?
I do remember. Just a cinematic.
I remember.
It was just...
it was introducing a whole load of characters, wasn't it? One by one.
Yeah, so the dwarf guys...
It was like building a team, and who's going to be your leader? And there's just this guy at the back who's like just demolished a whole group of people, who's clearly destined to be the leader. Okay, yep.
Yeah, so you can't. That's the thing. You can't really take anything from that because it was just, that's not the game. So it's just like, hey, it's gonna be coming out maybe in 2025 or something.
Just a bit of world building. I mean, those events might not literally happen in the game, but I mean, it's the way they've introduced the characters, their abilities, how they interacted with each other. Was there a little bit of friendly stuff here, unfriendly stuff there, bit of flirting with a vampire? I don't know, some little bit. So I
don't know. To be honest, it felt like it was just spoiling the game because it's like the whole point of those games is BioWare is that you have like a group of companions and you have to like get to know them and stuff, and it's like I'd rather just eventually play the game and get to know those characters instead of being teased in the trailer. So I don't know what they were doing there. They should have just showed off the main character and that was it. But yeah, anyway, there was a new Assassin's Creed Shadows that took place in Japan.
Yeah,
that looked just like...
So this is strange. Well, but here's the thing, right? Why are they doing Japan? Because we've just had Ghost of Tsushima. Also, just had Rise of Ronin. So that's two Japanese games. I think Ghost was PS4, so that's probably... Yeah, I guess that's probably now 6 years old.
Well, I think
Rise of Ronin came out in February, I think. So we're getting another Japanese game. It kind of looks pretty similar. Yeah, I don't know.
it normally takes like a year or 2 years to make these games.
Well, that's the thing, because Mirage has only just come out.
Yeah, well, that came out. Yeah, and that felt like it was very quickly. Yeah,
that was only a few months ago. That was this year, wasn't it? Earlier this year, like March or something. Oh, what? Oh, okay, possibly. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, like not that long ago.
Yeah, I think it's also maybe I don't know when you ever watched this new series called Shogun that came out on Disney Plus. That's been getting quite some popularity. It's set in Japan, back in old Japan, like. So yeah. So it's like samurais and stuff, and that's doing quite well, quite popular. But I'm not sure if that was like the reason why they must have made that decision quite some time ago.
Yeah, I presume. I think they have been going around that whole thing, because obviously they did Odyssey. Oh, well, no, Egyptians, Odyssey, Valhalla.
Yeah, but to be honest, I haven't played.
This is like this is like the new era of Assassin's Creed. So obviously the first lot was like all in Asia and Europe, but they were like basically the same game with very much the same features and gameplay mechanics, just slightly adapted for each one. And they were all quite serious games. Like they took themselves seriously. And then I think Origins or Odyssey came along, and they don't take themselves quite as seriously as they used to, and they're a lot more fantastical than they used to be. So Assassin's Creed was all about the animus and science and DNA and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're going deep into mythology. Thor and Odin and Loki, they're real characters who exist within the Assassin's Creed universe now, and not in the human sense, but they are gods, and presumably the same with the Greek gods and the Roman gods if they've gone to Rome, that kind of thing. So yeah, they're like more God of War than they are Assassin's Creed 1 these days.
Yeah, I thought like Mirage was trying to go back to what the first game was all
that's
about.
what I was thinking. I couldn't remember if it was like actually a remake of 1, 2 and 3, or if it was Assassin's Creed in the same sort of location and in the same sort of spirit. But I haven't played it, so I can play it on my iPad now. It's just been released on the iPad yesterday.
Yeah, I heard kind of mixed. What, Assassin's Creed Mirage?
£23 on the iPad.
That's not bad. I enjoyed the first 3 games, but after I enjoyed. I actually for some reason enjoyed Revelations. I played that all the way through. I kind of enjoyed that one, and I kind of wanted to get into Black Flag, but I just couldn't really get into it. I couldn't really get into that one.
I've only done the first game. I did the first Assassin, and I was starting to do the second one, but I kind of had already watched a playthrough, and I knew it was very repetitive.
Yeah, but
once I'd done the first Assassin, I didn't feel any reason to carry on.
The first game was literally that. Like, it was. You ever play like the Hitman games?
No.
Okay, so like in Hitman, they say, okay, here's your target. It's up to you how you take your target out and get out of there. Okay, the first game was exactly like that. It's like, okay, you have these different options to get the guy. You can like jump him, or you could stab him behind. You can do combat, whatever, and it's up to you how to run off. But the later games, they just skipped all that. Like, there's no actual go and kill this target. It's just, yeah, there's story, and then it's just like, it kind of missed what the first game was all about sneaking in the crowd, trying to blend in, and then slowly approach the target, kill him, and then get away without anyone noticing. So, and that was the whole point of Assassin's Creed Mirage, is that they were going to go back to that, but I don't know. It sounded like they kind of did, but kind of didn't, and it wasn't really well received. So
I think the original Assassin's Creed felt a bit more like that old loader mission. It's a bit more open world than a loader mission and do something, but it felt like each world and mission existed in its own area. Then you come out and then you load another mission. Whereas I think Valhalla, whilst it has some of those elements, it feels a lot more grounded in the past than it does the future.
Okay.
And some of those assassins are kind of more driven by the story within the past as opposed to being in the future trying to find those. Now, I know that from watching gameplays of both games. I watched a YouTube channel watch it in 2011, I guess, and then I watched my wife play Assassin's Creed Valhalla over the last couple of years. So I haven't played either game myself, but from watching gameplay, that's kind of how it looks to me. And the few bits that I have actually played, which is very little. I played the one that starts off in Paris.
Oh yeah.
With, I guess, is that the one with Ezio? But I didn't get very far. Seems to be a common thread with me and Assassin's Creed. I think I was playing it up until. Is that Revelation?
That might be 2.
No,
or...
is there? Unity.
Yeah.
I think Unity.
Yeah, I think it.
Because it was free for a while for some reason.
Yeah, they gave it away.
Yeah, I got up to the party, the party scene where you got to sneak in, kill someone, and run away. And I think I hadn't quite got all the mechanics in my head, so I wasn't doing very well, and I just kind of gave up in the end.
Yeah, I just remember that game coming out, and everyone was like, "This game is terrible" because it was so buggy. But they did fix it eventually, but. I think the
the advantage of playing it 5 years later is all the bugs are fixed, so I didn't have any of those problems. But that game was memed to death, I do remember.
I think at the time, they designed the game to have like these enormous crowds, and they were showcasing these crowds. But I think they underestimated the PS4 and especially the Xbox One CPU, and it just couldn't handle it. So when the game came out, it was just like the frame rate was just horrendous. I don't know if they had to reduce it, like reduce the take some people out.
They'll just reduce the crowds. I don't know if they can do any. There's some super clever stuff that they do now, where they sort of dynamically add and reduce the crowd. Do things like low detail for crowds that are further away from you or stuff like that. But I don't know how taxing those threads are a gaming console versus a PC or even a more modern gaming console versus a One or a PS4. But yeah.
Did you manage to watch the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake?
No, I watched Starfield DLC, Fallout 76, Age of Mythology.
Oh, Age of Mythology.
Elder Scrolls, Life is Strange. I saw Stalker, but I didn't watch it. And then, the Assassin's Creed.
So Age of Mythology. You're a big Age of Empires fan, aren't you?
Age of Empires fan. I have played Age of Mythology. Your recommendation, and I did enjoy it. But I think I still prefer Age of Empires.
Was it my recommendation?
I think Age of Mythology is a better game, but I just prefer Age of Empires.
I can't remember. I don't think I've ever played that game. Did I recommend that to you?
I'm sure it was you. Is there another game similar?
Yeah.
To Age of Empires that's not Age of Mythology? Because you were going on about how you could be, you could have both like cavemen and nuclear arms in the same.
I don't know if it's called the same name. That's the weird thing. I can't remember I know the game you're talking about. It's not this game because this game had like gods and stuff.
Oh yeah, I just thought that was the next stage.
No, it's that the game you played don't have gods and stuff like that, but it's made by the same guys who did Age of Empires. I forgot what it's called now.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, I think I played Age of Mythology once, and I didn't like all the god because I felt like that was just cheating. Because you got like...
Well, yeah, see, I was watching it, and it was like, claim your people, make them worship you, and then claim your victory, or something like that. And I was like, well, this just feels very strange.
Did you ever play Black and White? It felt like Black and White, where you got like an evil... You can be a good... So basically you're a god, and you got a choice between being a good god or an evil god. So it's like you can provide... So like if someone has... If your people have like crops and stuff, you can water the crops and...
So you can bless them or you can curse them.
Stuff like that. But it's less... I suppose it's less hands-on in a way, because it's like individually looking after your town, and this seems like you're looking after the whole village and all the people inside the village, and there's going to be like loads of wars and stuff you can do. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not really... It kind of reminds me... You ever play Seven Kingdoms?
I've not played a lot of games.
That's an old game.
It's come up a lot. Have you played? Probably not.
It's an old game, but it's a very good game. It might actually be like Age of Mythology. It must be like it must be tied to Age of Empires. I know that sounds saying and they.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Actually, it's I think Age of Mythology was, maybe it's not anymore, but I think originally it was made by the same company, the same studio that started off doing Age of Empires. I don't know if it went to Microsoft with Age of Empires.
I think that game requires you to have like DirectX 11 or 12 or something ridiculous like that. Because I was trying to load it up on the Dell, and it's like, your graphics card is not. And I was like, this game's like 30 years old, and you're telling me I can't play it? And it's like, I was so annoyed. I was like, I just want to play the game. I was like, you need to have.
Could you not install it?
No, it wouldn't let. No, I installed it, and then it went to play it. It's like, you need your card is not.
Yeah, but can you install DirectX 11?
No, because the card don't support it.
Rise of Nations. That's the one.
Rise of Nations. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Rise of Nations, or I thought it was the same thing.
Oh, you know what?
I mean?
If they did a remake of that, that would be awesome. That would be great. And somehow,
yeah, I can see that.
see if they can expand upon it as well. Like Age of Empires has that, like the technology and stuff. But it kind of goes so far. Where Rise of Nations, yeah, if you're quick, it depends how quick you are on the keyboard and mouse. Trying to like getting people and getting resources, and then like getting yourself a university, and like if you're very quick and start studying very quickly, yeah, you can end up having like a jet versus like a caveman, which is quite funny. And you can set off like a nuke
Aztecs or something. That wholly unfair, but funny in a way. It's actually very much a game of its time.
Yeah. It's very addictive, that one as well.
So, did the Starfield DLC sort of pull you in at all? You going to replay that game again? Replay it?
It actually looked interesting. So it looked like, it kind of felt like Dead Space, in a way, where the first Dead Space, where you're on a shuttle and you get a distress call, you go and check out this ship, and then you see a bunch of monsters and God knows what. I can't remember if there was monsters in this deal. All I remember seeing is like them investigating some sort of crew that's been viciously attacked or something. So yeah, it looks interesting. Thing is, like, yeah, it's like I've been replaying Fallout 3 and playing some of the DLC, and it's like, yeah, it only takes like 2 to 3 hours to complete. So it's not like, it depends how they price it. If it's like a 15 quid thing, then maybe, yeah. But
I think it might be like 25 quid.
Yeah, it seems a bit steep, doesn't it?
That's how much Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty was. And I want to say that actually Starfield was more expensive than Cyberpunk. So could be 30 quid.
I hope they do keep bringing DLC out and then eventually bring out a Game of the Year edition. I would definitely pick up the Game of the Year and have all the DLC. But I don't think they do that anymore. They kind of want to sell you individually the DLC. It was nice to, like, you could go...
Fallout 4, I don't know if Fallout 4 has Game of the Year, but it does have a Game Pass, so you can just buy everything, all of the DLC in one. So I did that, because I had Fallout 4, just the base game, which I bought about 5 or 6 years ago in a Steam sale. And then some of the mods that I wanted to use, like the unofficial Fallout 4 patch, requires the mods. So I just picked them up for like £6 on the Christmas sale. So that's similar to the Game of the Year, but not quite the same. But I don't know how many DLCs they're going to do for Starfield. I mean,
that's the thing.
They're not paying it as much attention as they have even Fallout 4. Certainly not Skyrim.
No, it's a start, I suppose.
And they're just packaging up creation kit stuff as well, which isn't even their sort of work. It's just, I mean, that's a whole other kettle of fish to talk about, really. But
I suppose the only other game that I want to talk about was the Gears of War. Oh, you didn't see it though, did you? You didn't see it. So there was a Gears of War game, and the revelation to that is that they're all very young. So the character models are very young, their faces. So I had my friend message me. He's like, "It seems like they're doing like the original games." I was like, "Yeah, it looks like it's a prequel, mate." Because it's called Gears of War E-Day, and it has you hear like ambulances going off in the backgrounds and stuff. So it looks like this is a game that's set just maybe during the Locust invasion of the planet. So we get to see that, because we never really saw that in the games. It's always after the fact. I suppose there was a prequel, Gears of War Judgment, that was set before Gears of War 1, I believe. But you don't really see like how the locusts got on the planet and where they come from and stuff. So maybe we will get some answers. But the thing about prequels, in a way, is that certain characters are not going to die, or the story can't go in certain ways because that character is going to be in the further sequels. So that's why I tend to not enjoy prequels. It's like, I know...
Or conversely, you can go the other way around. You can introduce a new character and they're going to die because they don't exist in later games or earlier games.
Yeah. Well, I suppose...
We saw that with a very popular franchise, didn't we? Not going to name any names, spoil any stories, but...
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, thanks for ruining it. Thanks, mate. I haven't completed that game yet. I don't know what you're on about. I know that I'm in the second one. Oh, yeah, that's a prequel, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the problem with that. But yeah, basically, it's just a cinematic trailer. Kind of looked like a cutscene of the game, to be fair. And just Marcus versus a locust, and he was trying to fight. They're having a fight in a room, and it's like, who's gonna pull the trigger? And they're like, oh, there's so much tension. I wonder who's gonna win, Locust or Marcus. I wonder. It's like, why would you? There's no tension. Like, that Marcus is gonna. So there's a good example of that. But
do you know, this whole time when you called them locusts, I thought they were actual insects that were infecting the world, but I'm not sure that an insect can pull the trigger on a gun. Are they actual insect bug type creatures, monsters, or are they a humanoid faction called the locusts? Like, what is it?
There's different variants of the locusts. So yeah, some of them are like insects, like spiders, and there's some like bugs that run around and explode, and then some of them actually look like humans but like mutated, but they're not actual humans.
But they're not.
They live underground as well, I suppose.
They're not civilized humans that are just enemies. They're alien monsters, creatures, that kind of thing. Alien, yeah, that's the one. Okay, yeah, I know nothing about Gears of War. It's not a game I've ever played, so
yeah, it's I'm kind of excited though, in a way, even if it is a prequel, because it is nice to go back to the original. Because in the later games, they've introduced like more and more characters, and Marcus is getting older, Dom is getting older, the main characters are getting older. So it's nice to just have the original cast of characters and replay them, and then maybe like, because they do tell a lot of stories.
Maybe the next game there'll be all new characters.
Yeah, well, there kind of is in the later games. Like they get like Marcus is not the main guy in the later games. Someone else. But he's in the game, but yeah, he's not the front guy in the game. So it'd be nice to just play as Marcus and have the other 2 or 3 guys, Dom and Carmine. But anyway, yeah, I suppose that's pretty much it. Like the Indiana Jones game, I kind of enjoyed, but as well, I'm looking forward to it's coming out this year.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I'll play the game, but I think I'd seen enough in the previous trailers to not be interested. I didn't need to watch the trailer again.
I think the main thing to say is that yes, Xbox looks like they're bringing out games, and they are bringing out games. Pretty much, I think all of the games that I saw day one on Game Pass. So when the game,
I think I stopped writing day one Game Pass in my notes because pretty much every game so far had been. It might be that all of the maybe like the first 30 games were all Game Pass day one, and maybe the second half weren't. Yeah, the vast majority of them did seem to be. Because like Life is Strange actually is the sort of game that might not be Game Pass, because it's not just on Xbox. It'll come out on PlayStation. I don't know if there's any exclusivity period, but Jen played it on the PlayStation, so I know it's not going to be a forever exclusive.
Well,
it's not that kind of game studio.
The thing is, it's a lot of these like Dragon Age, Doom. They showed in the trailer at the end, it's like coming to Xbox and PC. They're not going to say it's coming to PlayStation or even Switch. If there is a Switch, but
oh no, I know they're not going to. But of the ones that were up, the ones that I would expect, the ones that were the first 10 or 20 are going to be the Xbox and the Xbox Studios, which will all be Game Pass, and then the ones that are not exclusive to Xbox are later in the event and everything like that. But not necessarily, but I imagine there'll be they'll prefer their own studios. But that's not all that was announced at the Xbox showcase, was it?
Yeah, did miss out.
We're getting new consoles, baby.
Yeah.
We are. We're actually getting an entirely new console.
Well, not really.
Would you believe?
Well, we're getting it's an old digital versions of, and then different SSD storage.
Well, it's the all digital version of the X, because obviously we already had the S. I've not looked at specs since then. So has it got more SSD space?
Yeah. So there's one. I think there's one with 2 terabytes. It's like the special Xbox Series X. I mean that's an old digital. Wasn't they all digital and they just had different storages, or was there one that just had?
They're all digital,
right? Because I was saying
they didn't show any storage or tiers or anything during the event. They just said that they're all they said, all digital, and there's new colours.
I swear they said
commitment to game preservation, play anywhere on console, PC, or cloud, and they're working on the next gen console. They didn't do any tiers or storage or anything like that during the event. That might have been later on.
Oh, okay. I swear I saw somewhere. Like one of them says the special Xbox Series.
Oh yeah. I'm sure
terabyte.
They've announced it, but they didn't announce it there. They might have just said something during the showcase and then put a press release out with all the boring details.
But yeah, I was kind of just no one's gonna buy that. Well, someone might, but the casual gamer might. But
oh yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a new console, I mean,
it's like, oh look, it's a new color. I'm like, oh.
I suppose the question is, are they still going to sell the Xbox X with the disc drive?
The Xbox Series X. Yeah, that is a good question. Now
is that a while supplies last, or are they going to manufacture it indefinitely?
Yeah.
Because how many? What did I say? Like this mid-gen refresh might be your all-digital next step to the next gen, which I genuinely don't think the next gen will have a disc drive at all.
Well,
for Xbox.
I think there was some leaks today or yesterday about the handheld, saying this thing is real, an Xbox handheld.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, why wouldn't they be doing one? The Steam Deck's doing so well, and all the Windows-based ones are doing so well. Of course, they should be doing. If they don't do one, that's madness. I understand PlayStation for doing their weird thing because it's PlayStation, but Microsoft...
It depends what it's going to be. Is it going to be an handheld or is it going to be a remote, like streaming?
No, I think if Xbox do it, it'll be a handheld because they've just done all this, like I said last time, they've done all this work on high-performance, ARM-based Windows laptops that can already run games at low resolution 720p. All they need to do is accelerate that, and then they can do high performance gaming on a handheld. And because it's an ARM chip, not an x86, performance and battery life should be a lot better than... Yeah, it could even potentially be better than the Steam Deck, but not as versatile, and it will only be Xbox games and cloud gaming. But I do believe the Xbox handheld will play games natively. I do not think they're doing a cloud streaming or console streaming thing.
Yeah, I think it'll be maybe up there with the Xbox Series S. Maybe not storage-wise. It'll probably be like... Who knows what'll be in it, but yeah, it'd be interesting. But what we know now is, like you say, they're just bringing out these digital consoles. A good question: how long they're going to support the actual physical Xbox One, Xbox Series X disc versions before they say, okay, let's stop production and we're only going to concentrate on selling. It depends. Like they have to look at the what is selling better. I still think. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, this might be their market research.
Yeah.
Because if they release the all digital version and the optical version, and they see that more people are buying the optical version over the digital, then maybe they'll be like, oh, maybe we will have an optical drive in the Xbox Quad Tray. But I don't think it's going to look that way because so many people are doing digital downloads now.
Yeah. Well, we've been through this in the past, and we'll wait and see with that.
I'm just putting little breadcrumbs into my prediction as to what's going to happen. I think it's going to be called the Xbox Quad Tray. That's why I keep calling it that. And I think it's not going to have an optical drive. Did I say Quad Tray? I didn't mean Quad Tray. Whatever whatever word means 3.
Yeah,
Because you got the Xbox
quadruple.
One, the Xbox Series, which is 2, and then something that means 3 in some other language like French or Spanish or Italian. So not quatre, but triple. That's what I said. The Xbox Triple. That's what I said in the previous episode.
Yeah. Could you? I was going to say
that's a terrible name, but
could you imagine if the handheld had a disc version? You could put a disc in it. That'd be great.
And actually, the handheld is another reason why they're not going to do a disc-based version.
Yeah, exactly.
If you buy an optical-based Xbox Triple and you buy a game with the game disc,
you can't play it.
The way game discs currently work, you can't transfer that license to the handheld. So the only way it makes sense with a handheld in the mix is to have it all digital across the board. I would be so surprised if they do have an optical drive.
It is nice because I have my Xbox Series X connected in my bedroom, and then I was playing around. For some reason, I digged out my Xbox One, and I loaded that up, and I noticed that I had some games installed, and because I think I got them for free on like Xbox, they were giving them away on the marketplace, and because I own these digitally, I could just carry on where I left off, and it's like cloud save. So I was like, you know what, this is not too bad. I don't have to put my disc in, or go downstairs get my disc. I could just, I wouldn't like I would always prefer playing it on the Series X, but because at the time I was just playing around with the Xbox One, I was like, I just want to see how this works. Is it going to be instant where, of course, the load times are longer and stuff like that, but will it be able to load up my save game and continue playing it? Yes, it did. So that was quite, and I didn't have to put any discs in. I just loaded it up because I already had it installed, the game. I think it was like Crackdown 2. So I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So yeah. But yeah, okay, yeah. That's the podcast for today. Maybe 5 minutes. I just want to talk about a movie I watched. Very quick. Just a very quick review. Maybe you could slot it in somewhere. Who knows? But I watched Mad Max, a Furiosa. I don't know what it. Furiosa and Mad Max Saga or something like that. It's called. So I watched it and I was like, this is very, very good. But it was only after I was like, I've watched Mad Max Fury Road, and the character in Mad Max Fury Road is there's a character called Furiosa. So I didn't realise that the film I just watched was a prequel. Well, you kind of realise eventually because the film tells you it's a prequel, but I didn't realise it was a prequel. So that's why the film was really good, because I was like, these characters, I don't know what's going to happen. I thought it was a sequel.
Oh, right, okay.
But knowing now that it's actually a prequel, it's like I kind of like have less kind of not respect, but less appreciation of the film, because I'm like, if I watch that again, I know that these characters are not gonna die But
if you watch it again, you've already seen it, so it doesn't matter. I get what you're saying. So basically, you enjoyed it more because you didn't know it was a sequel, and you didn't know that certain characters had to survive the film to be in the later films. I get that.
Yes, but the thing is, say 10, 15 years from now, okay?
10, 15 years from now, Tommy, if you forget the storyline from this film, you're also going to forget the fact that it's a prequel.
No, I won't. That's the problem. I won't.
You probably will.
That is in my head now. That is in my head, unfortunately. I know that this is a prequel now to Fury Road. You can't escape it. That isn't like you're not gonna forget something like that, because I'm a movie guy. You just can't do it. But the film is very good. It is very good. And it kind of made me want to go. Like I went home and I rewatched. For some reason, I rewatched Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, because the prequel.
Is that one of the older ones?
Yeah, with Mel Gibson, because that film, it kind of expands on the universe of Mad Max, of the Wasteland and stuff like that. So where Fury Road is basically just a big chase scene. The whole film is just a big chase scene, and you don't really get any surroundings of what's like where places are. So in this film, you go to like different places in the wasteland, so it's not just one big chase scene. There are chase scenes in it which are very similar to the previous films, because it kind of does feel like that in the Mad Max films. Like you must have like a chase scene where someone's in a truck or a lorry, and there's people chasing them, and you got to fight them off, and you're trying to escape.
Guy playing the guitar on the roof.
Guy playing the guitar on the roof. Yeah, but it wasn't that in this film. It's not.
It wasn't that grand.
Yeah, they didn't dial it up.
It wasn't that much of a spectacle.
They didn't dial it up as much in this film. They kind of held back a little bit, which was good, because that was just Fury Road was just crazy. The amount of like, I remember enjoying Fury Road, but I'm not sure if I kind of like more the in this film. They kind of explore more of the surroundings, and they give you more of like, oh, okay, so this is this town, and that is that town, and this is how it's all connected, and that's kind of like in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It's like, okay, he has this town, and then he goes off and goes to this other place, and this other place kind of links up with the town that he was at earlier. So it kind of like you're expanding your universe of the wasteland
places and what's around. Yeah,
and I kind of enjoy that more. But that being said, I still think Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, is probably the best one though. Never. Have you seen any of the Mad Max films?
No, I've not seen any of them.
Oh God, you might if you enjoy Fallout, you might enjoy.
No, I mean, yeah, I kind of have been looking at them. I have some vague plan that I might watch them, but it's not like a high priority or anything.
The thing is, like I said, like some of the films, there's not really. It's quite straightforward, a very straightforward plot, and then another film is
I'm not expecting them to be a grand masterpiece of writing. They're from a book though, aren't they? They started out as a book.
I'm not too
sure. Is that right? Because the other one, and actually I know this is a book, is obviously the Dune film that just came out recently.
Yeah.
The first one I think is on Netflix. So I was possibly wondering about watching that. But then I thought, well, if it's in a book, I might wait until I've read the book first. So I'm not 100% sure. I might watch it. I might wait till I've read the book, which could be a year from now.
Ooh, yeah, you could do. I would say, to be honest, there's no harm in watching the two films that have come out, because there's more books. So there's a continuation of the story, which the films, they're currently debating on whether to do more films. Like, was it a box office success to make the third film, or does the director want to make the third film? I think there's like 5 or 6 books, I think, that go off and explore. It's not really like, I think after the second one it kind of veers off into something else. Yeah, that was a good film, by the way, part 2. And yeah, definitely, if you get a chance, like, I would say watch them two, but yeah, definitely don't just watch part 2. You need to watch part 1. Otherwise, you're just gonna be completely lost. People like, what the?
I like the prequels.
The what?
The prequels, the Star Wars prequels.
Oh, the Star. Get up.